Trae, because you're such an elite playmaker, I think this makes you a below average shooter. Right here, you ask for Ricochet to come set a screen for you. You do it with your eyes. He sets a ghost screen, but he doesn't roll with a purpose. He doesn't get to the paint. He doesn't put his hand up. This forces you to have to break down your man, something you're pretty good at. You hit him with a tween to a push cross, and when you do this, I want all y'all to pay attention. Look at his knee. Look at his foot. If he tries to get back in front of you, he's going to snap his ACL. You got to drive all the way to the basket. But what do? Take a contested three.
15-13. Trae for three, off the mark.
My Ducks, my Swans, welcome to the pond.
My name is Coach Duck from Group A2 Basketball, and right here we breaking down Trae Young's game. Trae, you are a 35% three-point shooter for your career. That means if you take 10, you're probably going to hit 3.5. And in this entire montage right now, we are counting 10 threes. I want you to get the visual representation of if you take 10 threes and only hit 3. I think you have the three-point shooting talent to be a 40, 41, 42, 43% three-point shooter. But because you take very bad threes, you take contested threes, you take rush threes, you take a lot of grenade threes, that has lowered your percentage. And because you're the best player on your team, because you're the best scorer on your team, because you're the primary playmaker on your team, because you have the highest usage rate on your team, whenever you take these shots, it's essentially like live ball turnovers. If you want to be an NBA champion and go deep in the playoffs, you got to start taking better shots. Here's the average three-point percentage by position in the NBA. You are below all the perimeter positions, and your percentage mirrors those that are power forwards or even centers. Your three-point percentage has never been above 40%, and it's not because you don't have the talent to do so, it's because of your shot selection. That's going to impede you from getting above that 40% mark. This is a perfect example right here on how you make easy shots into complicated shots. Garrison Matthews gets to the teeth of the defense. He has 4 defenders looking at him. He has that lob for Clint Capella. He throws it behind Clint Capella, and you do what all intelligent basketball players do. You relocate to the open spot on the floor. Look at the separation between you and De'Aaron Fox. That 3 has to go up. That is the easy 3. But you complicate this by putting on a dribble move. You go baseline and take it behind the back, and now you got D Fox on his toes like Chris Brown. This is a beautiful move. This is a great move. And you hit this shot, but you made it a lot more difficult.
Looks, backs up on Fox. Good! What a shot to tie it!
One of the reasons you're a below average three-point shooter is because you're inefficient in the mid-range. This forces you to take contested threes because that's the shot you're comfortable with. We're going to break it down right here. You get this elbow entry to Jalen Johnson, and Clint Capella sets a back screen for you. You go immediately into this flex action where you send a cross screen for Zachary Ricochet, and then Jalen Johnson's going to set a down screen for you. One of my pet peeves in basketball is when folks set screens but don't put a body on nobody. Ain't none of y'all touching nobody on any of these screens. You get a dribble handoff for Clint Capella, you get it right at the elbow. When you get the elbow, you had an opportunity to put Coulibaly into a hostage dribble situation. When you do that, that would have gave Clint Capella an opportunity to roll to the rim, Jalen Johnson a chance to spread the floor and get to the three-point line, and you would have had more options. But you don't, and get your shot blocked.
Standing in Boston on Tuesday, Trae with a flip, and that gets blocked.
Being inefficient in the mid-range is a huge detriment to your game right now. And the reason for the inefficiencies is because you make your decisions after you leave the floor. You're rushing. You're jumping off of 1 foot. You're not stopping and taking your time. You can jump off of 2 feet and get a great angle or get a great shot off. Once you get in the paint, you have 3 seconds to make a decision, and you're a great playmaker. And because you are the best player on the Hawks, you got the highest usage rate, the defense is going to adjust to whatever it is that you do. There's no reason to rush this. Right now, you are a below average finisher at the rim, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. So if you don't master your mid-range and make it really efficient, you're only going to be relegated to deep threes, and that's very, very easy to guard. And this is something that the Hawks are going to need you to develop if y'all want to have deep runs in the playoffs and eventually become a championship team.
Young again. Too easy.
Here's a heat map from this season. I want you to look at the mid-range, right in the nail area. 74 for 169, 43.8%. League average is 45.4%. Almost 12% of your shots come from that area of the floor. There's no reason that a player of your talent and your ability should not be shooting at least 50% from this area of the floor. I feel like this is a great example of this right here. Dyson Daniels doesn't give you a very good pass, so it's not a clean catch. I feel like if you would have got a clean catch, that three is going right up. But you do the right thing. Gather the ball, come off this ball screen. Once you come off this ball screen, look at that elbow area. That's the sweet spot. You need to either A, pull up off of 2 feet for the mid-range jump shot, or B, put your defender in a hostage dribble situation. If you put him in that hostage dribble situation, you would have seen you had Onyeka on the lob. You could throw it right at that NBA logo at the backboard, or cross skip to Dyson Daniels. You don't do either one, get bumped off your line and throw a wild shot.
On this lead here.
Tough shot. Did not get it to drop.
All young guards, I want you to pay attention to this. If you're a small guard, you got to be a great finisher at the rim. And right now, Trae, you're below average. I love this little heavy footstep you do right here that gets Isaiah Stewart on his heels. You attack that left gap. Once you get there, you see all the defenders are right there. The rookie should have came over. You should have hit him and had a dribble handoff, but he can't make that read yet. You stay in the paint and think you're going to have an opportunity there. Jay Nivey plays great defense like it's the 1990s and has his hand on your hip with the hand check. Onyeka's setting a screen for you, but because you're not strong enough, you don't swipe his hand away, you can't get a clean look.
Trae Young to the lane, Trae Young to the rim, shot is wide.
The same problems you have in the mid-range are the same problems you have when you're at the rim. You're rushing, you're taking bad angles. And I understand why you're doing this. For all small guards, I get it. You're down there with the trees. I got to get the shot off before they get off the ground. But all this is doing is making the shot a lot more difficult for you. And the more difficult that the shot is, the less likely that it's going to go in, which lowers your percentage. You need to start playing off of 2 feet. Everything doesn't need to be off of 1 foot. You don't have to rush it. You have an opportunity to make decisions with the 3 seconds that you have once you get into the paint. But right now, you're trying to do everything so fast that it makes it easy for guys to block your shots or alter your shot to put you in a very tough angle, and then the team is going the other direction. Once again, if you want the Hawks to go deep in the playoffs, if y'all eventually want to be a championship team, these are the opportunities that you got to convert. You got to be able to make layups at a high clip being a small guard.
Floater, too long.
Here we are back at your heat map, and look at the area around the rim. 194 for 391, 49.6%, 59.5% is the league average. You're almost 10% below, with 28.4% of your shots coming from that area. Look at the guy who you're compared to a lot, Tyrese. He's almost shooting 63% at the rim, while you're at 47%. Another guy who you compare to is Steph Curry. He's shooting 55% at the rim, while you're shooting at 47%. You got to get better at this area. Here's a great example of one of your finishes right here. Y'all got this inverted horn set. Capella steps up and sets that ball screen. You're going to snake the screen, and now you're attacking Cat coming downhill. Once you get around the snake, you see that there are 2 good shot blockers waiting on you, Cat and OG. If you had breakaway speed, you could go finish at the rim, but you're not going to do that. You take another dribble, get 2 feet in the paint, and hit Cat with that rondo. He's staring right at you as you turn your head and look at Capella, which fakes out the entire defense. Since Cat's flat-footed, he's not able to get off the ground. You take another dribble, quick little floater.
Game in 31 points.
Trae ties it.
Like I stated earlier, you're an elite playmaker. I honestly think you're the best playmaker in the NBA, and the numbers reflect that. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Look at this. You got a wide open 3 right here with all those guys looking at you, but you decide I'm not going to shoot it off of 2 feet. I might shoot this off of 1. And the defense has to respect this because the film has shown that you will shoot this shot. But this isn't you shooting a 1 foot 3. You're setting up your teammate. You're looking for the lob that no one else can see.
On the lob to Okongwu. How he can make that happen in just a blink of an eye.
I've said multiple times you're the best playmaker in the NBA, and the stats back this. You haven't had an all-star teammate the entire time you've been in the league, and you average 9.8 assists per game. That's almost 10 assists per game. You're almost averaging a double-double off of assists without knowing that you have a guy that's guaranteed to get you 20 points per game. You do a great job of manipulating the defense with your dribbles, your head fakes, your ball fakes, your fakes with your eyes, manipulating them inside of gaps, making the defense collapse collapse on you because you have such a high usage rate. They have to pay attention to what Trae Young is doing, which allows your teammates to get very, very easy shots that's easy for them to convert and make them very efficient. Even with your turnovers, I don't even trip on your turnovers because usually your turnovers come from you jumping in the air and making a decision once you get in the air. Same thing I said about Steph Curry. Same thing I said about LeBron James and those scouting reports. For some reason, great players, y'all want to make out decisions in the air. But with you being the best playmaker in the NBA, as a coach, I have no problem with that because usually the only way that the other guys on the team are going to get going is if you set them up.
Tried to shoot it.
Look at the analytics from your rookie year on. The past 3 years, you've averaged double-digit assists. With this past season, you led the league in assists. So like I said, I don't care what anybody got to say, Trae. You are the best playmaker in the NBA. This play right here exemplifies how you're the best playmaker in the NBA. Y'all go back to this inverted horn set. You come off the first screen, the defender's right there waiting on you. Capella comes in this twist action, comes and cleans it up for you. Once you come off the screen for Capella, you got 3 defenders there waiting for you. Look at the bad spacing you guys have. Look at all 5 defenders looking at you. Most players would pick the ball up right here. You don't do that because you're a great playmaker. You take another dribble and you use your eyes to move the defense. You look at that opposite corner, which clears that lane for Capella rolling down the paint, and you get a wide open lob right at the bucket. Elite playmaking.
Continuous 2-point lead. The lob, Capella, the finish.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, man. I tried. I really did. But I call a spade a spade. I gotta keep it a buck with you. You're a horrible defender. Look at the sideline out of bounds. Your back's to the ball. Why? You compound this mistake by creating separation between you and your man and letting pressure set this butt screen on you. You're supposed to be ball, man, basket. You do the opposite of that. You compound that mistake by creating even more separation and let Karl-Anthony Towns set another butt screen on you. This gives Mikal Bridges a wide open short corner jumper.
3-point game of Hart's career. Here's Bridges, who scored only 6 points last night.
The film doesn't lie. Look at you, 1-point game in overtime, sideline out of bounds, you're trailing again, going for a steal and giving up a wide open jump shot. Here you are in the post, going for a steal again, putting your team in a rotation scramble situation and giving up another jump shot. Here you are, the offensive player, gets past you, push you on his back in a hostage dribble, you try to swipe down and you're not able to get your hand on the ball. Here's the same game, you got a slow closeout and get beat right off the dribble. Sometimes you do get lucky. Sometimes your hand does get in there, you're able to get to swipe off their leg, and you have a high basketball IQ, which we see on the offensive end. You're able to make reads with your basketball instincts and get some steals. But this doesn't happen all the time. Most of the time, you are getting beat off the dribble. I see right here, you do a great job of trailing, getting that passing lane, and getting that steal. But if this effort isn't consistent, it looks horrible. And a lot of times, you end up falling asleep and giving up wide open jump shots, which really hurts your team.
He has a hot hand.
Hey! After a lot of searching, I did find this clip that shows me you can be a capable defender. Here you are on the island in the corner, shading him to the left. I would love for you to shade him baseline, but you had a plan. You shade him to the left. Once he drives, you use your body as a shield to impede his progress. This forced him to bring the ball back to his right hand. You read it, steal.
Trae has him in the corner and steals it. What a play by Trae Young.
Trae, you're a great player, man. Now, I know you're tired of being disrespected. I know you're tired of being overlooked. Everybody has these narratives about you, but it's time for them to start waking up and paying attention. We can't control what the outside people say, but we can't control the product that you put out on the floor. If you fix these things I said inside this video, not only will you be going to the Hall of Fame, we'll add some rings to your name. I'm out the pond. Y'all stay true.
It's the Sunday, gotta call.